Somehow, I made it through. Let's thank God for our senior choir this morning, combined choir. Praise God. I want to thank God for Elder and Mrs. Robinson, for both ministers. I met Elder Robinson many years ago, Reverend Darlene Brown and Reverend Barbara Evans. The three of us, we used to do, out of 025 prison ministry. And I used to preach at the prison on Friday nights, and that's his calling, that's his gift, and he really helped me a lot. And we certainly thank God for Elder Robinson and his wife who's with us today. If I could run, I'd shout just like you shout. That brother can praise the Lord. From the Old Testament book of Numbers chapter 13, verse 30. Numbers chapter 13, verse 30, the scripture that Deacon Sims read in your hearing this morning. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it." And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it." Got a long subject this morning, but every word is important. Positive declarations, positive energy, and positive circles. Positive declarations, declaring positive things out of your mouth. Being around folk who exude positive energy and making sure that you've got positive people in your circle. God, we thank you for this privilege to stand for the second time today, proclaiming your word unto these your people as well as myself. Grant me, God, a listening ear. I know what I have on paper, but I need to hear from you. Open my mouth that I may speak clearly. Open our hearts that we may be receptive to your word. We thank you in advance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Ushers, I'm waiting on you. How would you respond as a non-smoker if someone seated near you in a restaurant was puffing smoke in your direction and you had to inhale secondhand smoke? How would you respond if an individual seated near you was constantly speaking vulgar language? Without a doubt, I share your response. If you were Mrs. Henry and I, we would simply request to be moved to another table or, if necessary, leave. From Rasmus, we would refuse to inhale the cigarette smoke, and most certainly we would refuse to have dinner while listening to vulgar language. Why then do we sit and listen to negativity without getting up or leaving? Why do we choose to listen to negative statements which often rob us of our positive energy? And why would we maintain fellowship with negative people? Why would you consider, Elder Brown, Robinson, to fellowship with someone who never lifts you up, never speaks words of affirmation, never encourages you, but rather discourages you, and who speak contrary to what God has said? You may have to make the choice to get up and move. You may be asking, how can you do it? John Kehoe, and for those of you who research my sources, his last name is spelled Kehoe, Kehoe, an author who writes what? Specifically on the subject of positivity, suggests that we can do this, Sonia, by exercising what he called mind power. So how do we eliminate negative thinking according to Kehoe? Kehoe said the first step is to recognize the importance of eliminating negative thoughts. And Ms. Crummey, the second step is to be aware when negative thoughts are being brought to us. Now, you got to get that. What he's saying is you've got to discern immediately when someone is speaking negatively. And secondly, you got to, in a sense, arrest or isolate that thought and make sure that you recognize that you have a group of energy who are depositing negativity in your spirit. Wow. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. They were the same way at the early morning service until I got out to the end of the runway. As I meditated on the sermon for the first Sunday in the new year, the Lord kept leading me to this text. And I think we can glean a lot from Caleb and Joshua and their response to negativity. Are y'all with me? I want you to see something, and I hope you're taking notes. I want you to listen very closely, because what you can glean from this is Caleb's reaction and response to negativity. And not only that, he gives us clear insight that sometimes we as a group collectively can see something. But Caleb teaches us that it's not what you see, but how you see it. I'm going to say that again. And he says it's not about what you see, but how you see it. Are y'all with me? Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this passage, and maybe you're a novice to the scriptures, let me bring you aboard. I'm going to do it quickly, so stay with me. Most of us know the story. In the Bible, in Numbers chapter 13, verse 1, God said to Moses, I want you to do something, and I want you to do it quickly. He assigned Moses the task of taking a leader from each tribe. There are 12 tribes. And he said, I want you to send the spies over to spy out the land of Canaan that I have given unto you, and bring me back a report. Now, if you had gotten that, you'd have been on your feet. I know for Baptists it's not shouting time yet, but you'd have been on your feet. Y'all need to hear this, because he said to Moses very clearly and very profoundly, listen, I want you to send 12 spies to the land of Canaan and let them bring back a report. The land that I'm giving unto you. Now, this side didn't get it. I want you to send 12 spies to the land of Canaan and bring me back a report. Send them to the land that I'm giving you. I wish I had somebody help me. God was saying to Moses, I only want the spies to go over. Can I say it like the Yupa said, and check it out? I want them to determine that what I've said is true, that it is indeed a land that's flowing with milk and honey, that it is indeed a land of richness and prosperity. Go and check it out. Now, here comes the report. This is what they said to Moses after spending 40 days in the land of Canaan. They say, we went into the land that you sent us, and we affirm, I'm adding that word, it does flow with milk and honey. Here is the fruit. Now, Sister Holmes, you got to get this, because not only did they come back, but they brought fruit. The fruit is evidence that what God said is indeed true. He gave us the land, and we have the pomegranates. You can see it. But they said, we also saw the sons of Anak. Those are Goliath's cousins. The commentary said they stood between 6 and 9 feet tall. The Amalekites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, and Amorites live in that country and along the Jordan. Now, you got that. Get this, and I want y'all to get this and jot this down, because once Caleb heard it, this is what some of you got to learn to do in 2019. At the inception of negativity, shut it down. Come on, somebody. Caleb told the folk, be quiet. The Bible says he told them plainly, he said, we should go up, take possession of it, for we can certainly do it. Now, I know y'all are saying, Pastor Henry, if y'all would just lower that just a little. it's coming up front. What he's simply saying is this, and the process is called redirection. I hear the negative, but rather than entertaining the negative, I'm coming back with a positive. I'm coming back with a declaration. Now get this. Oh, I feel this thing already. What Caleb is saying is this. He says, look, rather than focusing on your giants, let's focus on what God said. God said the land is ours. I don't care what they look like. I don't care about their reputation. I don't care what you are thinking. All I know is God said. I wish I had somebody to help me. The land belongs to us. So here's what you've got to do. Ellen, if we're going to survive, if we're going higher in 219, when you are sitting around folk and they express their negativity, come right back with a declaration. I know what you said. I heard what you said. But I believe God. I wish I had somebody to help me. The doctor just gave you a negative report. Respect his position. Respect his profession. But my trust is in God. Can I get somebody to talk to me? So redirecting the negative is coming back with a declaration that is intertwined with faith. Now here's the amazing thing to me, Deaconess Midget, and you got to look beyond the surface because it's there. I find it quite intriguing that 12 men saw the same thing. 10 spoke doubt, and 2 believed God. Isn't it amazing that 2 folk can see the same thing? And 1 person believes God, and another person is standing there doubting. 1 person is able to say, I know that things are tight, but the Lord will make a way somehow. I know that we are up against a battle, but my faith is in God. Redirecting the negative. Wow. Pastor, why do we need to do that? Because I hate to tell you this, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but giants are still coming. I'm sorry, but we didn't leave them all in 2018. Some of them are crossing the border, and there's not a wall that can stop them. What are you saying, preacher? Giants. We can expect giants. I guess y'all will say, well, you ought to define a giant. There are all kinds of giants. Giants of addiction. I ought not go here, but the Spirit's leading me. I told one of my dear friends last night, that preacher, we respect your theological view. We want to hear what you've got to say about R. Kelly's story. I wish, I saw some of y'all. Can I get some of that? And I said, preacher, all I got is one thing to say. I'm glad they're telling his story and not my story. Because all of us have got something. Oh, I know y'all don't want to hear this. All of us have got some things in the closet. All of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And I'm glad nobody is telling my story. Am I condoning his behavior? No. Am I endorsing his behavior? No. I'm realistic. And knowing that we've all got some baggage. Caleb and Joshua, which also tells us that the majority is not always right. 10 out of 12. 10 out of 12 gave a negative report. 2 out of 12 believed God. And guess what? Go home. The book is a good book to read. When you get to chapter 13, verse 32, Sister Juanita, you see something that's quite interesting. And I would say the same thing is happening today. The 10 were not satisfied with keeping the report to themselves. Come on. The Bible says they went back to the camp and told everybody in the camp, the land is not what you think. The people there are enormous in size. They're bigger than us. And they went on to tell them, said, now look. When we looked at them, they looked like giants and we looked like grasshoppers. Wow. And get this. This is what ought to make you sad. That narrative continues into chapter 14, and verse 1 of chapter 14 says, and the congregation lifted up their voice and cried. Listen, Miss Crummy, and the people wept all night, or rather that night, cried over not what they had seen, but crying over what they. They didn't wait to get the facts. They went on hearsay. God knows I wish I had somebody to help me. They told us everything. And the Bible says they wept through the night. God said, I'm giving you the land. J.J. somebody saying, what is Pastor Henry talking about? When you hear the negative, redirect it back to what God said. God said, I am the head and not the tail. God said, I am the lender and not the borrower. I will not entertain your negativity. God said. Caleb and Joshua believed what God said. Pastor Henry, we've entered into a new year, and we've got 51 Sundays left. 358 more days. And you've got a choice. Dr. Osh, you can come on back. I'm going to close in a minute. You can major in the negative and allow negativity to penetrate your spirit, or you can stand on God's word and refuse to associate with folk who are spreading rumors. I wish I had somebody to help me. So what do you mean, preacher? I said if you're going to declare something, you'll declare it out of your mouth and out of your spirit. Let me give you an example. David, a young shepherd boy. All right, preachers, y'all ought to help me. Y'all, if you're up here, heard about a man named Goliath who threatened the safety and future of the Israelites. Everyone feared this giant named Goliath. Goliath would meet him on the hill, and every morning he would hurl insults, challenge the Israelites. Don't you have a man that can come up against me? Bring it on. David, a little shepherd boy, decided with God's help, we can defeat Goliath. Can I get a witness? The crowd said, the negative folk said, David, you can't do it. You are just a shepherd boy, and Goliath is a warrior. David said, when I was in the field, I ran into a bear and a lion. The same God that delivered me out of the mouth of the lion and the bear, he will deliver. I wonder if I got a witness. Is there anybody here can say he will deliver? The battle is not mine. It's the Lord. David faced Goliath with faith. In fact, listen, he told him, You've come to me dressed in your weaponry, dressed in your armor. You've got everything ready. But I come to you in the name of the Lord. And today, you're going down, bruh. Today, you're going down, bruh. Today, you're going down, bruh. When you know what you know and you try them for yourself, you can tell somebody, time out. I don't have time for negativity. Preacher, are you going to take it to the next step? Yes. The next step is positive energy. I'm going to make some folk mad, upset, and bitter. But contrary to Trump, this is not fake news. Y'all need to hear me. There are two types of energies. Are y'all with me? Positive energy and negative energy. And if you will listen to most folk for the first 3 minutes of their conversation, you can detect, you can discern they are bringing negative energy. And guess what? Norman Vincent Peale, the Reverend Norman Vincent Peale, who pastored in New York for many years, authored the book way back in the 40s, The Power of Positive Thinking. Norman Vincent Peale says that negative attitudes are contagious. It's like having fleas. If you don't contain them or eradicate the flea issue, they'll be all over the house. You ever been around folk, you ask them, how you feeling? Bad. You stand there long enough. Well, when I met you, I was feeling good, but you know, I do have a little twitch in my arm. I'm not trying to entertain y'all. I'm just trying to keep it real and let you understand if you allow that to enter into you, that negative energy will start having a negative effect on you. Pastor, what do you mean? I'm saying you've got to declare and decree. I refuse to hear, to entertain, and to act on negativity. My God is able. I wish I had somebody to help me to do anything that he wants to do. My God is able to bring me out of darkness into the marvelous light. My God is able. Preacher, what did you say earlier? Redirecting. Redirect. That's what Keho said. Redirecting. He said, within us lies the power. He calls it mind power. To redirect it. That means intercept it, send it back. Thank you, God. I didn't have this in my notes. Lord, you are so good. Bless the Lord. You've got a virus program on your computer. And Miss West has Norton on all of the staff's computers. Well, at the bottom of my screen, Norton will remind me or inform me. We just blocked a threat. Y'all didn't get it. Now, and here it is. I don't always see and know where the threat's coming from. But the virus program informed me we just blocked the threat. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying? You've got to block it before it gets into your system. You've got to cast it off before your heart and mind starts to conceive it. Oh, y'all don't want to hear me today? A contributor and preaching today I use quite often, told the story of a married couple that she married, the preacher, or the official of the wedding. And after she married this couple in Ohio, the wedding party made their way to the reception venue. The only way to get to the reception venue, come on, Dr. Oaks, they had to travel via U.S. Route 35. On their way, things got complicated. Jeff and Rebecca Peen and the rest of the wedding party met an unexpected surprise. A traffic jam, Brother Toppin, that held up the traffic for almost 4 hours. But after being parked there for only 1 hour, some of the members of the wedding party started to become frustrated. The bride and groom just sat inside the limousine and decided that there was no one going to steal their joy. When all of a sudden someone pulled up beside them in another car. And finally another car pulled up on the other side. And noticed that there was a gloom hovering around the limousine. A bystander pulled out his cell phone, pulled up a song on Spotify, and directed all the cars to move to the side of the road. They said, even though we are held up, it doesn't mean that the party can't go on. I wish I had somebody to help me. The couple got out the car and started to dance in the middle of I-35. And you know how it is with Baptist folk. When you get 2 or 3 on the dance floor, somebody else starts to dance. I wish I had somebody to help me. And after a while, folk were taking pictures. The wedding party and folk that were bystanders were all dancing in the middle of I-35. I said, Lord, why did you lead me there? He said, Henry, you need to tell some folk. You can't stop what's happening to you. You can't block what the enemy's trying to do. But what you ought to do is tell somebody, I'm going to dance and praise the Lord anyhow. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Can I get a witness? Is there anybody here made up in your mind, come hell or high water, the devil is not going to stop me from getting my praise on? You can come with the negative. You can tell me what God can't do. But I'll tell you, my God shall supply all my needs. I'll tell you, no weapon that is formed against me shall prosper. I'll tell you, he's my battle axe, and he makes the way out of no way. You ought to dance. You ought to let the enemy know you can't stop my praise. The Lord's been too good to me. If I have to dance right here in the middle of the highway, dance, dance, dance. You got a choice. You can sit in the limousine for 4 hours and mope over conditions you have no control over. Or you can crank up a praise. Y'all Baptist folk don't know what it means. They crank up a praise. Deacon George Jones says so often, when I think about the goodness of Jesus and all he's done for me, my soul cries out hallelujah. I dare somebody right in the middle of the service, crank up a praise. Let the enemy know, if God be for us, who can be against us? Crank up a praise. Tell somebody, I don't want to hear the negative. Crank up a praise. Positive energy. A bystander took out his cell phone and used the Spotify app to get some music going. If we're going to sit here, we ought to go ahead and have a good time. Since I'm stuck here, might as well let the devil know that I'm going to bless God anyhow. That's why David said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praises shall continually be in my mouth. Pastor Henry, why so much repetition? Haddon Robinson says repetition is the key to learning. He said, boys, that's what he called us. Boys, it's all right to repeat yourself. 12 men went over, I'm not finished, to see the land that was called the Promised Land. 10 out of 12 came back with a negative report. 2 out of 12, Joshua and Caleb, said, we can possess it. We're going to take God at his word and move on. I dare you this morning to decree and declare that you will not walk in defeat. I admonish you to declare that you're more than a conqueror. To decree and declare that victory today is yours. To decree and declare that you are anointed and appointed. To decree and declare that every limit you placed on God, that you're going to take them off in 2019. Wow. Positive what? Declaration. Positive energy. And positive circles. Oprah Winfrey said, listen, she said, surround yourself with people who are going to lift you higher. In other words, she's saying, choose your company. And I would argue, choose them wisely. Are you making withdrawals or are you making deposits? And once folks show you who they are, believe it. No, I'm going to change them. You couldn't even change yourself.
That's right. That's right.
How are you going to change them? I got to close. Baptist preacher has to come up with some kind of closing. And the Lord took me back and said, I want you to just look back in retrospect. And look who was talking. Caleb. Caleb, at the time of this statement, was 85 years old. In fact, he was the oldest among the group. Caleb left Egypt. Talk to me, somebody.
Yes.
As Moses was leading them out of the promised land.
Yes.
Caleb spent 40 years.
40 years.
In the wilderness.
Yeah.
And he learned how to lean.
Yeah.
And depend on God. At age 85, Caleb knew that the Lord has brought me through this.
Yeah.
And he's brought me through that. He can lead me on to the promised land. I wish I had somebody to help me. Caleb was sure that the God who had fought all of his previous battles was able to take care of him at this point. Can I get a witness? But even at the end of chapter 14, you hear the crowd still saying, it would have been better for us if we had died in Egypt than to die out here in the wilderness. Caleb talked to God. And here are his famous words. He said to God, God, give me this mountain.
Yes, sir.
In other words, we've got some folk who don't want to cross over. And since they want to live in a land of negativity, give me this mountain. In other words, God, I believe that you will do what you said you will. If I got anybody in here who are trusting God to do what he promised, is there anybody on your pew that has decided this morning, I'll stand on his word, I'll stand on his promises? Is there anybody here that can say like Caleb, I will trust in the Lord, come what will or may. I will trust in the Lord. Be not dismayed, whatever betides. God will take care of you. Have I got a witness? Is there anybody in here know He will take care of you. He'll fight your battles. He'll feed you when you're hungry. Trust him. Positive declarations. Positive energy. And positive circle. Come here, Robinson.
Yes, sir. Hallelujah.
Y'all come too.
Hallelujah.
Let's form a circle.
Yeah.
And see, those of you who are not on social media may not understand how the process works. In order to become my friend, you got to request friendship.
Yeah.
So Sister Robinson sends me a message.
Yeah.
Through Facebook. And it'll say, Robinson is requested to be your friend.
Yeah.
And then you got a choice. You can hit accept
Yeah.
or decline.
Yeah.
I've got 1,537 friends on Facebook. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and I come to realize that in 2019, I've got to unfriend. I wish I had somebody to help me. That means if you don't mean me the good, I like your white hat and your sassy outfit, but you gotta get out of my circle. If you're not pushing me forward and lifting me higher, get out of my circle. I don't have time for foolishness now. Get out of my circle. I want to lift him higher, higher, and higher. As we all stand. Positive declaration. Reverend Lord, that means decree positive things out of your mouth. Positive energy. And if you're around folk long enough, you will be able to tell what kind of energy is exuding from their very presence. Wow. And then positive circles. When I was finishing the sermon, I said, Lord, I don't know what you've got me doing. Those of you who listen closely know that that one point has been in the last 3 sermons. That God, I believe Mary is setting us up for 19. To understanding if we're going higher. There's some folk. And it's not that they're bad folk, they're just not ready for the level that God is taking you to. Wow. Positive. So what are you saying, Pastor? Let everything about 2019 be positive. Don't entertain negativity.